Hello, Dr. Roberto.
Hi. Salam alaikum. Shalom.
Walaikum assalam. Walaikum assalam. It's good to have you with us.
Thank you very much to invite me in this program. I'm very happy and curiosity to hear about you and to have this conversation with you.
Same
So,
here. We have a curiosity about talking to a Sufi Rabbi from Tel Aviv.
yes, from Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. I am leading a congregation here in Tel Aviv,
Okay.
and it's called Neve Schechter congregation, a conservative congregation. And I'm already more than, I would say, 30 here, dealing with the Sufis and studying Sufis and dealing with a group. It's called the Path of Avraham, Tariqa Ibrahimiyya, that we are meeting and studying and try to influence people in the culture of peace and understanding in religion, spirituality.
This is wonderful. And yesterday, 2 days back, I was speaking to Dr. Shelley. She is from your
Yeah.
Tariqa Ibrahimiyya. And that was
Yes,
so
yes.
interesting to know about this tariqa. So you initiated this tariqa, you started it in 1999?
Yes, me and the Sheikh Manassara and Professor El Kayam from the Bar Ilan University. We start about something, before 2000. And yes, it was the time that we participate with the Tariqa in Rifaiya and Qadariya here in Israel. And we discovered them, and we decide to open the first tariqa of Jewish tariqa in Israel, that also Muslim participate to this tariqa, and we have meeting every week for more than 10 years, every week in my house, and after in my congregation, in the other place. Every week we're studying. 1 week we study text from the Sufis Islamic tradition, and the other from the spirituality of Jewish tradition, and we conclude the meeting with the zikr, both in Arabic and in Hebrew. Yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's a great merger. That's a great merger.
Yes.
Tell me, Professor Roberto, Dr. Roberto, how you found yourself inclined towards Sufism? Like, you have done your
Yes.
graduation in philosophy, and then you started studying your religion, but where Sufism comes in your life?
Yes. So I can tell you that when I studied in university, I hear about the Sufism and in the historic way that influenced the Jewish mysticism in the past, in the Middle Age. But nobody spoke more about detail about it. But when I come here in Tel Aviv, we have a friend that is a poet that was very educated in the Sufism, and he used to teach to us story about Sufism together along with the Hasidic story, along with the Zen Buddhism story. And my interest increased more and more. But the main point, the start point that decide with me to create a tariqa, was the time that we meet with a friend and we go in Ramle in a tariqa, when participated for the first time in the zikr, Islamic or Rafaiya zikr. And for me was really something amazing, that because before I was thinking that the Sufism is only in the books, and suddenly we discover some tariqa here in the land of Israel, and so we try to have a contact with them, to study with the Sheikh, and I organized in 2000 a very big meeting in the village of it's called Neve Shalom, is the oasis of peace, is a village where the Arabs and Jews live together. We organized the first big meeting, 3 days of studying music, meeting, and pray together. And it was amazing. People can imagine that when they start the Saturday night, that we Jews start the prayer of the Saturday, Shabbat. And together with us was the Sheikh from different Tariqa, Qadariya, Refaiya, from Jerusalem, from Nazareth, from other place. And they participate. And in the middle of the prayer, they just move a couple of meters and they start their pray. And people that participate to this, they can't believe that it's possible. You know that after 2000, it was very difficult time of violence here in Israel, and people could believe that it can happen, that can be a meeting with the Islamic, not only as a encyclopedia or books, but in life here in Israel. And we increase when we decide to have a meeting and to studying together to know much more about our commune tradition, spiritual tradition of Abrahamic tradition. So, if you want, I can continue.
Please.
It was amazing for me that to discover that the people that live here in Israel, nobody talk about Sufism 20 years ago, and today in Israel, because we work very hard in different places, in university, in the newspaper, with the people in congregation, with the rabbis and with sheikhs. So everybody today know what is Sufism in Israel, something new. And of course, most of them know the beautiful dance of the Darwishim tourneur, in Turkey. But now more and more are aware that exists this stream of spirituality in Islam. And for us, it was very important, because you have to know that most of the Israeli, they don't know nothing about Islam. They don't know nothing about spirituality of Islam. For them, the Islam is the religion of the war, of the war, of the violence. But we want to convince them that there is a big, deep spirituality that can be an enrichment also for us as a Jew here in Israel, and can be a bridge of peace. If we are more aware about the Islam as not only a religion of violence, but a religion of love and bridge of peace, so we can increase the peace here in Israel and all over the world.
That's very.
This was the idea.
And I guess Dr. Shelley told me that there was a Sheikh Bukhari.
Yes, Sheikh al-Bukhari, that he was living in Jerusalem and Al-Quds, and indeed his house was a place of tariqa in Bukhari, and we used to go to him every week to have a zikr with him, study with him about the special tradition of al-Bukhari. And that we have also connection with the Nazareth, with Sheikh Manassera from Qadariya. We have a connection with the Refaiya, and me and Professor Al-Qayyam, we have been invited. Today is impossible to think about in Nusrat, in Gaza camp, Nusrat in the Gaza, to participate to the festival of the Muhammad, and we participate as a Jew in this gathering. Today is impossible to think about this to enter in Gaza, but in the 2000 it was possible because all my effort and to create this tariqa in the 2001 I received a prize from the president of Israel
Hmm.
of Jewish tolerance, increased Jewish tolerance,
Hmm.
and we continue this work. One of the mass achievements that we do with the Professor Kayam and Sheikh Manasra was, I don't know if they told you about this book. It's called
Yeah.
the Lord of Peace. Yes, this is the first prayer book. The first prayer book, according to three big traditions: Islamic, Judaism, and Christianity. We collect all the pray for peace. And in itself, this book was something very unusual because everybody wants to work in his only tradition. We believe that to create a culture of peace, we must destroy the barrier and to create bridge between the heart of different religion, not to become to destroy the tradition, God forbid, but to increase our spirituality, to increase the peace in this world. So we try very hard in this, and every people that come, leaders, religious leaders that come to visit me in my synagogue, in my congregation, I give him a gift that can use it in his congregation in the state, because I have very good connection with the rabbis from the state, from Canada, from Europe, of my stream. It's conservative. So for me, it's very important because we believe really that the key for peace is to understand more and more the spirituality of the others.
That's right. That's very true, and that's very heart touching. I agree with that. Sufism, especially spirituality, Sufism, mysticism, whatever you name it, it is such a strong bridge between two people who are on the same path. It is such a strong bridge between two communities or two nations. And I am a person who believes strongly in Sufi diplomacy as well.
Yes. Understand that maybe that Pakistan is going to have a new relation with the state of Israel. That it seems maybe that because we have to stop, to all this war, and I think that this pandemic should give to all the world a new idea that we have to stop to invest in violence, and we have to invest in peace, invest to create bridge, to help each other in order. We believe, and as the Bible said to us, the Bible said that every humankind was created in the image of God. So it doesn't matter if your skin is different from me, if you believe it is different from my belief. There are different way to reach the same God. It's we believe, and in different language, but we believe all that in the same God and the same sanctity of the human life.
That's very true.
Hello? I lost you.
Hello. Yeah, we lost the connection for a while. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
I was
Here,
sharing
yeah.
that things will change and develop gradually and slowly. But right now, this is a big development that a Pakistani national is talking to a Israeli national, and people are connected. So it's a first step towards normalization and towards peace, and thanks to technology.
Yes, yes, yes. It's a good to hear about that more and more Islamic nation will understand that Israel is a part of the humankind and should exist together with other nationality. And we don't want to destroy the Islam. We live together with Islamic here in Israel. If you enter in the hospital, if you enter in the street, I live not far from Jaffa, and we always have a normal life with the Islamic. So it's very important that people be aware about the possibility to live together, even if we don't agree with all, but we can share a lot of things, and indeed we share here in Israel a lot of commune things, like that's very important for us, that people are not aware that we live together indeed. And for me, that we live here so strong to Tel Aviv, to Jaffa, so we believe that it's possible. You know that tomorrow I will start a new program that I will teach a son that his father is a Muslim, his mother is Jew, and they want to raise them in both traditions. So they ask me, because they know that for me, even in a regular way, when I'm teaching to children or teaching to the adult, I always mention also the Islamic spirituality approach, because for me is a part of my spirituality today. And I can divide it. For me, I use it to enforce my Jewish identity when I study more and more the connection with the Islamic spirituality. So, you know that in the last year, I decided also to make a research in the Sufism, Jewish Sufism in Egypt. So I'm studying in university and research about the son of Maimonides, that was a very well-known rabbis in Egypt in the Middle Age, and his son start a connection and influence a stream spirituality with the Sufism. So for me, I'm studying now. I studied Arabic in university, and I'm trying to edit a book of a Sufist Jew in Egypt that is right in the Hebrew character, but is in Arabic. And the language of spirituality is the language of Sufism. No, it's a very interesting. So for me, is a challenge that more and more people can be aware that this connection between Jewish and Islam is not something new. That is something that we want to renovate it in order, especially now that we are here in Israel, we believe that it's very important in order to understanding one another, that people will be aware about the Islamic spiritual tradition.
And I believe, Dr. Roberto, that Sufism or spirituality in every religion or every tradition is one in the essence. But what is the difference between Jewish Sufism and Islamic Sufism in practice? Can you elaborate it?
Yes. You know, that the Jewish Sufism is deep, of course, in the Jewish tradition first. It means that is studying the Bible and the Talmud and all the other Jewish tradition. But the way that we believe that we have to switch on is more to take the influence of the Sufis in the spirituality of the Jewish tradition. It doesn't mean that this Jewish spirituality not exist in the Jewish tradition, but I believe by myself that in confront and to studying the Islamic and especially the Sufist tradition can enrich my Jewish identity and my spirituality. I can give you an example that the example of the word dauk, so the test, the test that the Sufis talk about not only to fulfillment the precept of God, but also to feel them, to feel in your own interior bathing, in your inside. This is very important for me because it's not only a myth of doing, because a lot of time the Jewish tradition spoke about to do things, to do the precept, the mitzvot, but sometimes they forget the importance of the meaning, interior meaning. And we're studying about the Sufis, the importance of the heart that you prepare yourself, and of course the meditation of the Sufism that help us also to concentrate our spirituality. And so this is one on example. I can tell you I'm now searching about the secret tradition of the Sufism that also enter in the Jewish tradition in the same language, the same terminology, sir, el-sar. That means that bathen, that means the secret of the prophet is not something that you can discourse with everybody, but is a part of the spirituality of our text. And so for me, it's very important to see the connection, to see that when I study a Sufist text, and after I go and I reading my Jewish tradition text, so I read it in different way that enrich me. And I believe that also can enrich other people, because generally, in Jewish tradition, today everybody spoke about Kabbalah. Kabbalah is the Jewish mysticism that start in the Middle Age. But most of the researchmen, even university, they forget that other spirituality, completely different from the Kabbalah, exists in the influence of the Sufism. And because the Kabbalah, this stream of a Jewish Sufism is completely abandoned. So we believe that we want to renovate this confront of with the Sufism spirituality, and to publish book that was influenced, and to write research in the university that demonstrate the connection between two spirituality.
And how you think that now, after 30 years of continuous Sufi activism you have done so far, is there some positivity on ground you feel that people are connecting through Sufism, they are respecting one another's religious traditions?
Yes. No, I can tell you now, and a small example. The next semester in a religious university, it's called Bar Ilan, here in Israel, religious university, is going to have our Sheikh, Khaled Aburaz, that is he also received a PhD, is going to give a course about Sufism, Islamic Sufism, in the Jewish department. Can you imagine something? Something never happens, actually.
Revolution.
It's something, it's evolution. I tell you another thing, a story that happened 2 years ago, that was, again, missile from Gaza to Israel. There was 3-4 days that everybody staying home. So we stopped the studying in university. But after 3 days, that everybody stay in the shelter with the alarm from the Gaza, we the University of Bar Ilan, where I'm searching with Professor Avram Abramov. This is an expert of Islamic, world expert in Islamic, Ibn Arabi and others. We participate in the class with Muslim women and men, and me as a rabbi and professor from university in the same class. 3 days after that, everybody was closed because the missile from Gaza. So I said, people are not aware. This is life that we connected Muslim and Jews together in religious university, can studying with a professor Jewish that is expert in Islamic tradition. So something people can understand. You know, I was amazing. Say, just 2 days before we are closing the shelter, now we share in the same class with the Muslim, and we study with a Jewish professor about Islamic tradition. And I think this should be the example. And also in other place, I will say also as I told you before, in the newspaper, in the media, more and more people know what is Sufism. Of course, more about the external approach, the beautiful and the dance, the mystic, new age, something like this. But people are more aware about it. What is Sufism? Before, people, they were completely ignorant that exists even in Israel. Another thing that maybe Sheli El-Kayam told about you, that we used to go in the festival of Hanukkah, the festival of the light, in Akko, in the Tarika, Shartia. And we used to have there a meeting every year for 12, 15 years, every year in the Tarika there. And we light the candle of Hanukkah together with the Muslim. So we try to spread our message of peace and understanding with the Islamic tradition, and more, even I know now I'm following a course in Beer Sheva University. Also, one of our friend of the Tarika is called Dr. Shoy, that also is teaching about Sufism and the influence of the Sufism to the Jewish tradition. And there are scholars. It's another university. So it's happened more and more. There is a festival every year in Israel of Sufism. Of course, more music, more dance, more the very simple thing. But I believe more in studying and in the deep working of spirituality, not in New Age. That you have to make a lot of effort. For me, it was important to study Arabic, to be able to reading original Arabic, and still I'm not, of course, very, but I try. And I'm from Italy originally, and my father comes from Libya.
Okay.
Libya, from Tripoli. And my grandfather used to tell me, if you don't find a place to pray, you can enter in the mosque, because there is no picture, so you can pray there.
Yeah.
But think that I can do it in the Christian, because all the idols that are inside, but in the mosque, so we can participate. And indeed, we do it. In the past, in Nazareth and mosque, in different place, we organize praying together. So we try to break the wall between Muslim and Jew in order to understand more. So very important for us.
Yeah, Dr. Roberto, I agree with you that you can enter in a mosque and you can pray. And same as I know many people, and I have been in the world, many places where there is no halal meat is available or halal food is available. So where there is no halal sign is available, we always go for kosher.
Yes. Only one time we want to have a pray in Dam of the Rock, and they asked to me, are you Muslim? You say, yes, I'm also Muslim. So you have to say the Al-Fatiha. So, I know the Al-Fatiha, but in Italian, I couldn't remember in Arabic. So it didn't give me to enter in the Damascus. You want to pray here? No, it's forbidden for the Jew to pray there. Okay. No, it's not easy, for us. We receive a lot of marital approach from the Jewish side, but from the Islamic, when they go back and they say, you meet with the Jew, it's not good, it's not an easy. The tolerance that are in the Jewish community is not the same that in the Islamic. And I understand, but it takes more and more time. Yeah. And I believe that
Sheikh
will be happy.
Was murdered because of this, right?
What?
Sheikh Bukhari was murdered because of this, that he was having connections with Jews and he's meeting Jews, he's teaching Jews. So he was murdered.
I don't know exactly if he was murdered about. I think that was a heart attack, but yes, he was straight a lot because he has a meeting with Jew. And I know also in the Palestinian authority, they don't want to allow meeting even for peace. And in the past, we used to go even in the West Bank to call Sheikh from the West Bank. Indeed, I tell you that in my congregation, every year we celebrate the Jalaluddin Rumi in December, and we call the Sheikh from Al-Aqsa. It's participate here in Tel Aviv. I take a picture from a car that comes from the West Bank with a Palestinian number. I say, how it happened in Tel Aviv? Entered, yes, it take the Sheikh and the other musician from the West Bank to participate here in my congregation with other Sheikh was 400 people with this beautiful gathering, and we finish with the zikr together. There is indeed a tariqa in Jaffa that I'm very close to them, and Sheikh Iab Balcha and his wife, that also they are very active in peace. They have also kindergarten, and they also try to spread the Sufism, the language of peace, and they have a meeting every week. They have a zikr every week that invite Jew and Muslim together.
That's wonderful.
So they are very active. They are very active.
And Dr. Roberto, tell me, how many Sufi centers you have visited inside Israel? How many Sufi centers are there right now?
There was one in Akko, in Nazareth. I know that in Abu Palestine, also in the Triangle. I can remember now the name of the town. Abu Palestine, it's called. I know in Ramle, Abu Laban, and in Yafo, of course. This is what we have a connection with them. But and of course, in Baka al-Arbia is a place where there is Islamic academy. We used to participate there and to organize their meeting. In the past, recently, we didn't participate. I don't know why. But there are several.
There is a Pakistani Sufi center in Israel.
Yes?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a strange thing, but there is we have a Pakistani Sufi center in Israel. Unfortunately, we never claimed the ownership, and now I guess a family from India, they are taking care of it. This belongs to Baba Farid of Pakpatan.
Where? In which town?
It's in Jerusalem.
In Jerusalem, Al-Quds. Oh.
In Al-Quds. So that belongs to Pakistan.
Great. We'll be very glad to meet them and to our friend of Tariqa Ibrahimiyya that continue to meeting. not every week like it was in the past, but of course, especially now because the pandemic, I know that it's very forbidden to meet people. Yeah. Even my prayer here on today on Shabbat, we are permitted only 10 people outside in courtyard, even not inside the synagogue, only in the courtyard. So of course, create a lot of problematic meeting in those times. But thanks God, also the technology help us and to break the distance, and we can meet with the computer and not only physically. But when this pandemic will terminate, inshallah, we will meet again with our friend Muslim and Jews together. And you lead a tariqa in Pakistan?
Yeah. Sorry?
You lead a tariqa in Pakistan?
Yeah.
You have a group of, and you have a zikr every week?
Pakistan is a Sufi country, Dr. Roberto. 70%, more than 70% of the population is Sufi, yeah. More than 70% out of 220 million people are Sufis. Or the followers of Sufis, yeah.
Wow. And people of Sufis, they read Arabic text
Pakistani
from...
doctor, do you think that Sufi... Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. It's a little bit disturbed.
I was asking how do you that Sufism is helping out you normal relationship with Turkey, because these all countries are Sufi countries.
Yes.
Even Libya. Libya is
in the past. In the past, I remember that our friend Sheikh Manassera and Rabbi Fruman, in the memory that he passed away, Rabbi Fruman, they meet Erdogan together in Turkey. Yes, in the past. But I don't know what's happened in the Erdogan policy, that he completely changed his approach to Israel and became more and more not friendly with us. Even if in the last months or the last 6 months is trying to change this, hopefully, this approach to Israel, this negative approach to Israel. But in the past, I know we used to go in Turkey, our friend, everybody participate in Konya, in Jalaluddin Rumi, that one here they have the big meeting in Konya. So, yes. But in Egypt, our friend of Tariqa have a meeting in Egypt, but it's not easy, because the situation of Egypt in the past was not so friendly for Israeli the Jews that come from Israel. So we are very pity, because I like very much. We used to go every year in Egypt for vacation, but today is the situation more complicated. So people, what's happened now in that open Bahrain and other place that a lot of Israeli visiting there. I think that Israeli people here are very willing to have a relationship with the Arabic country, and we have to resolve the problem of the Palestinian. But I believe that we can create a bridge between the Arabs country and Israel, not only for the interest economic, I'm not dealing about it, but for the benefit of our people. So to try to understand that a lot of Israelis come from Arabs country. My fathers too come from. I hear my grandmother speak with my father in Arabic, and the music that I hear in my grandmother house was from Farid al-Atras and others Arabic music.
Mm.
So I think, look what's happened with Morocco also. The
Yeah.
people here are very happy
Yeah.
that also can create. So I believe that if more and more Arab country will participate to this program of peace with Israel, also after together will can be do an effort to resolve also the Palestinian problems, that we don't
Mm.
want to forget it. It exists, the problem, but we believe that it's possible to resolve it with goodwill and not to try to destroy one another, and to
Mm.
give a chance to the peace for every people to live in peace in his own piece of land. For the
Mm.
small time that God give to us to live in this land, we have to search peaceful and not to create violence that more that what exists already.
That's very right. That's very right. And I remember a few weeks back, I guess, or a few months back, um, a sheikh who,
I lost you.
followers, and I guess it's very important to build the relations and to build the peaceful relations among the nations
Here,
and between the nations. So
I, I can hear you. I
yeah,
lost you. Yes. Can you repeat, please?
yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. I was telling, just sharing that a sheikh from Cyprus visited few weeks back. Uh, he
Yeah.
came to Israel from Cyprus, and I strongly believe that this kind of exchange, these kind of visits, can contribute in normalization, contribute in understandings, build to build the understanding of each of the society, every person, their how they think. And I guess this is a big step towards resolving issues. And when we will be sitting together, when we will be understanding one another, then there are much chances to resolve the problems.
Yes. And especially in this time of crisis, of world crisis, I think that everybody should understand that nobody has a power. Look what
Mhm.
happened in the States last week.
Mhm.
And so even the big state is not have another power to win uh, alone. It has to. We have to create an understanding with all the humankind in order to win this pandemic. So we also can create this effort of research and people with goodwill to resolve other problems that the humanity has, and
That's
not
right.
only the medical, of course, medical, but we have first to understand that God gives to us a very short time to live
Mm.
in this war. So we have not to waste time
Mm.
in stupid things and violence, and to create flag and state. I think that this is it's problematic. We have to create more effort with
Mm.
all humankind in order to benefit the world that God gives to us, to everybody, and
Mm.
not to fight for a piece of land, and to forget that the human life is the more sanctity that God gives to each humankind.
Mm. That's right. That's right. And here, Dr. Shelley is mentioning that though Sheikh Aziz Bukhari suffered from
Yes.
heart problem, yet he recovered, and as he came back from the hospitals 3 weeks before he was murdered. So she is confirming that Sheikh Bukhari was murdered. And this is what she mentioned in her interview, that Sheikh Bukhari was murdered by extremists just because he was having interactions with Jewish Sufis. So this is
I don't
unfortunate.
know. I don't know. I'm sorry. I never hear about it. It could be if she say, hopefully, that she has a good uh, no
Information.
knowing from where.
Yeah.
I never. I know that he was suffer of heart, and
Yeah.
he always say that he smoked too much and is in dangers. But
Hmm.
of course, that I hear always that the they tried to take his house and
Hmm.
his tarika. So he has a lot of trouble in Jerusalem, and it's not only the only one. Also, our other friends that used to live in Jerusalem also they receive a lot of threat
Hmm.
because he meeting with Jew.
Hmm.
And always, but I'm not
And
care about because
is
always
this
exists
is
this
this a
extreme.
resistance you are facing as well from your community side, that you are meeting with Muslim Sufis from the
No,
Jewish side? There is no
no,
resistance.
never, never,
That's
never.
wonderful. That's
It's
wonderful.
what I say. I just remember once we
Hmm.
have been in a gathering in Nazareth in the mosque.
Hmm.
And when the Muslims started to pray, I said to our friend, please, let's do also our pray in silence, in the side,
Hmm.
even in another room close to the. But I suddenly I hear scream. What's happened? And our friend comes here. You have to go. You have to go because people are very upset that you are here. So we have to run. But no, personally, from our Jewish friend, we always say, you know, you do a very good thing that you meeting with the Muslim, and you have to do more and more. And but we never. But it's different because we are the majority here in Israel, so we
Yeah.
don't have any kind of problem of this kind.
Hmm.
Uh, Especially in Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv is very tolerant place. So, as I told you before, there is a sheikh in Jaffa that
Hmm.
his wife is Jew, and he
Hmm.
tried to raise his old son in both tradition.
Hmm.
So he go to the mosque
Hmm.
and he studying Quran, reading the Quran, but they also want that I teach him the Torah.
Hmm.
So I think this is it's good. It's not easy, of course,
Yeah.
even in Jaffa, but no, is I think that we should continue to publish our books and they to translate the Sufis in Hebrew like Ibn Arabi and the classic tradition of
Hmm.
Sufism. That's it's very very interesting, and also the research from the university that exists already and to increment because from the university after will also spread in the general people, and it's what's happened. It's happened. Hello. Mhm. Yes, difficult connection. I can hear you. Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
No, yes.
So I'm
Okay.
sorry for this technical trouble we faced today, and I'm very thankful, Dr. Roberto, and hope to see you again online, and hope to see you very soon in person. Uh, I'm,
My
I'm,
pleasure. My
I'm
pleasure.
will
If
as soon as it's possible, and travels are open.
yes, and hopefully to see you in my congregation here in my center in Neve Tzedek, where we have a lot of activities, not only a synagogue, we have also art gallery, we have a cafe, we have a center of music. So we have a lot of activities. So when we will come to visit us in Israel, it will be pleasure to have you my guest.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a real honor for me.
So thank you very much of invite me and hopefully that the technical will resolve technical problems will be resolved in this.
Sure, sure. Thank
Assalamu alaikum
you.
and
Walaikum.
barakatuh. Allah yatik al-afi.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.